PlateUp is a game that I expected to spend a handful of hours with and then uninstall, which is totally fine because I have access to it through Game Pass. Not a big deal. However, at this point, I have over 100 hours in PlateUp, and I'm here to sing the praises of this unassuming co-op masterpiece. Before I get started, I wanted to make a note that this is a new series that will run alongside Operation Backlog. This series will be focused on co-op games, as that is where I spend probably 25 to 50% of my gaming hours. We play a variety of genres, so there will be games like PlateUp, there will be shooters, survival games, factory games, platformers, and more. And when looking at these games, I will be pretty much exclusively looking at them through the lens of co-op. So with that out of the way, calling PlateUp a masterpiece may be slightly overselling the game, but not by much. What the team has managed to do here is truly impressive. PlateUp is a cooking game similar to Overcooked, but with far more complexity, and it's a roguelite, and it's nothing like Overcooked. But it's totally like Overcooked, but it's not like Overcooked at all. You wouldn't think roguelite would seem like a genre that would work here, but somehow it so does. You start a PlateUp run by choosing a main dish and a kitchen to cook in with your team of up to 4. As you complete more runs, you unlock more dishes that you can make. You can also unlock appliances that you can bring with you into runs rather than having to purchase them in the runs, and you can bring up to 2 of those. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about what happens during a run. So you pick your kitchen, your dish, and you start your run. First step is to set up your kitchen and the dining room. Counters, tables, appliances can all be moved around to allow you to choose a layout that works for you. You're really trying to get efficiency here. For us, and I think most people, you end up dividing responsibilities between the kitchen and the dining room. Speed is important as the run goes on, and it takes a while to move between the kitchen and the dining room, so it's easier for people to just work in their area. In the kitchen, you'll be grabbing ingredients, preparing those ingredients, and then cooking them, then putting them on plates to serve to customers. That is at least a simplified view of what's going on. In reality, you may have salads that need no cooking, you may have turkey that you need to cut pieces off the turkey, and then you have to dispose of the carcass. You may need to prep vegetables and then make a stir fry. There's a lot of variety. Once done, you put it in the serving window to be picked up and served to a customer. In the dining room, you're taking orders, serving food, and then grabbing the plates from the tables. If you're on voice chat or if you're in the same room with the person, you may find that you're also calling orders to the kitchen. That way the person in the kitchen doesn't have to actually try to look and see what people are ordering. Each area has a distinct rhythm, and I wouldn't say either are easier or harder than the other, although that can change a lot as a run progresses. And on that note, let's talk about the runs themselves. Each run consists of 12 days of serving food. Each day you get progressively more customers. At the end of each run you collect money, and then random appliance cards drop, allowing you to modify your kitchen or dining room by purchasing whatever that item is. Some are things like tables, counters, stoves. Other are more strategic, like file cabinets that allow you to save a card for later purchase or upgrade. And then there are desks that allow you to upgrade cards or even copy or discount them. Additionally, the blueprint desk allows you to lock down a card during your day, so you can get a specific card at the end of that run. However, the flip side of that is that you need to watch this desk throughout your run because it will show you a card like a countertop or a microwave, and you only have a few seconds to lock that down before it moves on to the next thing, so you have to be watching during your run. So it really is a trade-off. Then there are some other cards that give you things like conveyors, portioners, and combiners that allow you to automate your setup, at least to a degree. Additionally, at specific days, you'll have to make some choices. One allows you to choose a theme, which allow you to have some perks, like more customer patience or decreased messes. However, most of the choices add complexity to your run, forcing you to choose between adding something like another dish with slightly reduced customers, or the other choice may be allowing customers to order twice or take longer to eat. As mentioned, these choices can shift the difficulty in the dining room or the kitchen. Adding additional dishes will add complexity to the kitchen, while choosing an option that makes customers lose patience when a player is near, or walk slowly near customers, will make the dining room much harder. I will say there are a couple of these things, particularly the things like walking slow near customers or them losing patience when they see you, did start to cross the line into being not so much fun difficulty as annoying difficulty, although your mileage may vary. For us, though, it wasn't a big enough deal to really ruin the experience, but it did mean that whenever we saw those come up, we basically chose anything else. If you survive 12 days, then you go into overtime. If you go into overtime, then you have the option at the end of the run to turn it into a franchise once you eventually fail. So if you get to, let's say, day 18 and you finally fail, you can take that run into a franchise. With it, you will get one good perk that you can take with you, possibly more money for customers served, or appliance cards may sometimes automatically upgrade, or they may offer duplicates, and then you will have to take 3 negative choices that you made throughout your run with you as well. So, for example, additional dishes or additional customers, you'll have to choose 3 and those will go with you as well. But depending on how far you made it, you may have several to choose from, and you can choose which work best for you. The further you made it, the more negative attributes you would have collected, and that gives you more options on which to take with you into the franchise. And that process repeats. However, you are gambling with experience you earned if you decide to keep going into the franchise. Alternatively, you can choose to just take experience and not create the franchise. The experience exists to unlock new dishes and also some other aspects of the game. But for the most part, I was never too bothered if we failed a run and lost some experience on the franchise. So it isn't too punishing. Okay, so that's how it works, which I normally skip over on games that are pretty self-explanatory. In this case, though, I don't think any of this is obvious from a glance at the store page or reading a description. So I felt the need to run through the details in a way that I don't for most other games. With those details covered, though, how does it play? It's fantastic, particularly from a co-op perspective. These systems working together create different runs that are unique and memorable. I can still vividly remember working in the dining room side and choosing the walk slower near customers modifier. And the rest of the run, every time I walked near a customer, I would slow to a crawl. Every table interaction had to be perfect. I never chose it again, but it was memorable for sure. As you progress, the days give you a nice smooth ramp up in difficulty to deal with the modifiers you're getting. Working with someone else, you'll be able to also work together to solve some of the new challenges. There were times that I hopped out of the kitchen and served a few extra plates of food or cleared some extra tables, and there were times where I would be in the dining room and run into the kitchen to mop because the kitchen would be a mess. And I got similar help as well. There were times where I was in the kitchen and I got help mixing some bowls that I placed on the counter, or there were times where I needed help bussing tables when I was in the dining room. And I think that flexibility is really critical to overcoming the new challenges you keep getting as your run progresses. Anyway, simply put, it feels fantastic to overcome these challenges. And the rhythm you can get into when you're in either the front or the back of the restaurant is extremely satisfying. Interactions in the kitchen feel intuitive, and things like cook and prep time are usually nicely balanced to support that satisfying rhythm. The graphics are definitely simple. They don't bother me, but if someone tried to argue the game is visually unappealing, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with them. This just isn't a big factor for me, but if it is for you, what you see is what you get. So anyway, from a presentation point of view, PlateUp is just fine. But again, I don't think that is why anyone is going to be playing this game. And those systems that I described more than make up for any shortcomings when it comes to presentation. You may still be wondering how you could possibly spend over 100 hours on this game though. Well, the skill ceiling in this game is fairly high. As you get better, you are able to survive longer. As you survive longer, you start to learn how to automate some pieces of that kitchen. That automation starts to feel like an entirely new variant of the game, where you are choosing your modifiers in support of automation and making purchasing decisions, all to support an eventual goal of having part of your operation automated. I'm currently showing some of the high end we were able to achieve, but just do a few searches and you will find that this is barely scratching the surface of what's possible. And chasing that higher level of automation along with the natural variety from that rogue-like structure is how we've been able to put over 100 hours in this game. Plus, when you find a good co-op game with your gaming partner, be it a spouse, parent, child, sibling, whoever, it's easy to keep sinking hours into the game as long as there's an additional challenge and variety to be found. And this has both. So, I highly recommend this game to anyone looking for a great co-op experience, particularly anyone that liked something like Overcooked. While it's functionally very, very different from Overcooked, the game shares some DNA. So, if you're looking for a good co-op game, try PlateUp, particularly if you have Game Pass. I also believe it's been in a recent Humble bundle, so you could have it through there. If you like this video, maybe like or subscribe. It does help out the channel a ton. And I will see you in the next one.